What's up, YouTube? I'm just sitting here at my desk playing with my new spinner. Just got this. I think it's good to know trends going on, understand the appeal, especially if you sell to the youth or something. Anyway, so I wanted to make a little impromptu video just now about a very important subject. This is a subject, if you are a freelancer, I strongly encourage you to pay attention to. It is called When to Say No, 4 different signs that you should look out for. So, first thing I want to say is that when you start freelancing, a lot of people will tell you you can't say no. And you may feel that you can't say no. You need the money, you need the boost to your portfolio, and you know what they say, beggars can't be choosers. And I know that that's probably how you feel sometimes, but I want to tell you that there are times when you can say no. And as you get more experience, as you get more clients, as you get more notches under your belt, you're going to develop a keener sense. You're going to have a clearer sense of when something maybe doesn't feel right, of when something is good, of when something's a good deal, and when something is not. So I'm gonna go through um, I guess, warning signs. If you hear or experience these 4 things, it should signal the bullshit. Your internal bullshit meter should go off. These are red flags, and they should basically they should alert you to either not go forward or proceed with caution. So, number 1, the first thing that I want you to know is don't fall for this line. Don't fall for the, well, we'll have a lot more projects for you down the line. A lot of freelancers, too many of freelancers, have been seduced by this line. Often a prospect will come with a very low offer, and they'll say, oh, but don't worry, after this, there's going to be way more projects down the line. You can't bank on that. Don't hold your breath. In my experience, as well as with talking to a lot of veteran CEOs of client service-based businesses, it's just more often than not, the person does not make good on their promises and they do not come through in the end. So don't bank on, no, there'll be more for you. Never assume that there'll be more later on. You have to treat one deal at a time. The next thing is, thing to watch out for are people who will not commit to a price, and they're so anxious to get the work started that they need it right away, or very obnoxiously, I need it yesterday. Ugh, I hate when people say that. It's like nails on a chalkboard. Makes me just like, ugh. No, don't ever say that to a freelancer or a content writer or something. And it's always nice to have a specific time, but right away, whatever. But don't say yesterday. Ugh. Anyway, so if they won't commit to a price, that's definitely not a good sign. You should have a concrete number that you both agree on. Now, if it's a really rushed job, a rushed project, and you really do want to do it, it's an agreeable price, the person seems trustworthy, you want to move forward, but time is of the essence, then fine. You don't have to necessarily put it in writing right away, but at least get paid. Get paid up front. Don't risk, putting this rush job and then it doesn't work out and you don't see a dime for your work. It's also, if they're trying to rush in without signing anything, without naming their price, that is definitely something that you should be wary of. The next thing is a patronizing or disrespectful attitude. Now they say when you start in business, you have to pay your dues. One of my good friends and mentors and clients has said that to me 4 years ago when I started, and he's absolutely right. And it doesn't, and you have to pay your dues for a very long time. I'm still paying my dues, but paying your dues doesn't mean you have to let yourself get screwed over or bullied or really disrespected. You don't have to put up with that. You don't have to be abused. And I would say that if you're working with somebody, especially if you're young, and I know I've experienced this, if you're young, or if you're kind of not experienced, or maybe if you're old, I don't know. Maybe some of you could shed light on that. But generally, you may encounter people a bit skeptical that you really have what it takes, that you really, they may doubt your abilities, and that's normal. That's the market. Hey, you can't complain if you're new. You have to get used to people kind of underestimating you. And my personal tip is when people underestimate you, you should use that as added motivation to go above and beyond, do amazing work, and you know prove them all wrong. For me, that's what I use. I kind of like being underestimated sometimes. I like using that as motivation. But if someone's very patronizing and they're always like, they think they're, now look, if they have constructive criticism, very important to take constructive criticism. If they have good feedback, if they kind of like are mentoring you in a way, that's great. But if they're sort of like being very rude, very putting you down, being like, they seem to get a thrill out of chastising you, and they kind of like, you don't know anything, I'm going to teach you, you're kind of like a little whatever, they're not taking you seriously. I would be wary, because more than likely they think that you're somebody they can take advantage of and mess with, and that you're not going to be able to do anything about it. I've been in that situation, so I speak from experience. Be wary of that. And the final thing I would say is be wary of people who are cheap, whether you've heard a reputation that they're cheap, or they keep giving you a very low offer. People who buy you only on price, solely on price, they're looking for the bargain basement, the lowest bidder, are going to be the clients that are the biggest pain in the ass, and they may cost you a lot more in the long run, and be more trouble than they're worth. Because if they're very cheap, now look, if you're okay with that and you want to do the work and you think the price point is